I got rocks. Actually, I knew they were coming because I entered the Worldwide Rock Tumbling Contest presented by Feather River Lapidary and Mineral Society, based out of California. And I thought I would enter it to just for fun, see what would happen. So I believe these are jasper, and let's have a look at them. Wow.
And here are the rules. Applicants are permitted to remove, before or after your rough tumble, spalls, chips, cracks, and any other imperfections on a grinding wheel. After this initial cleanup, the rocks must be allowed to go through and complete the tumbling process without any further handwork. No hand polishing or grinding is permitted after the tumbling process begins and after completion. The following is permitted and is determined by the tumbler: resizing of the initial rough rock, total number of tumbling stages, the grit types and sizes, the selection of pre-polish and polished materials, use of media, use of a burnishing process, the amount of tumbling time, and whether to use a rotary and or vibratory tumbler. Any substitution of the shipped rough rock is not permitted. When completed, select only 5 of your best stones to return for judging by August 15th. If more than 5 rocks are sent, the extra rocks will be indiscriminately removed and discarded. All tumbled rocks sent in will become the property of the Feather River Lapidary and Mineral Society. Remaining tumbled rocks may be kept by the applicant. All rocks will be judged blind against the other contestants. Judges will not know the identity of the submissions. During round 1, the judges will examine all submissions and determine the top 7 finalists. During round 2, judges will examine the finalist rocks under a hand lens. Judges will look for the following: polish left in cracks, flaws in the workmanship, not on the rock, coating or anything that brings out the polish other than the work and wheel marks on the stone. Wheel marks will disqualify the applicant. If a finalist is disqualified, the next contestant in line will take the spot. The top 3 winners will receive $250, $100, and $50 respectively. Winners will be notified and have their work displayed at the club's annual rock show in September at the Silver Dollar Fairgrounds in Chico, California.
So this is a 12-pound tumbler, and I only have 3 pounds of rock. So I'm going to add some more rocks, and they have to be the same hardness as this jasper. Well, I just looked it up, and these are about 6.5 to 7 on the Mohs scale. Mohs scale. I wonder if that's from Moe from the Three Stooges and how hard he hit somebody in the head. You probably noticed a bunch of little side projects here. I'm making some more butterflies and dragonflies. And I did some cabs. Working on this big pudding stone stocking. I have to get a Dremel tool and trying to get into these little spots here, because my saw doesn't get in there quite well. And I just made this little butterfly out of red agate.
Wow!
Mounted on some wood. Spalted maple, I think. Brass, I like that. Brand spanking new. Never been used. This is exciting. Enter the Rock Tumbling Championship. Tumbling some beautiful rocks. Jasper and amethyst. Ooh, just found that one. Not tumbling that. Look how cool that is. She's pretty. Wow, that's bigger than I thought.
That's what she said.
Ah, not bad. We're getting there. So no. I want to tumble all different sizes. That's the best way to do it. That way they get into little cracks and crevices and helps grind things down a little bit better. That's pretty much 3/4, I'm thinking. Pretty darn close. Here's one in the bin that was shined and put back for some reason. Oh well. There, I think that's enough. And one day when I get really, really brave, I'm going to carve like a bowl out of this. Actually, I have a bigger one. Hang on. She's huge. Yeah, I like to do some kind of a bowl or some kind of a... Not sure. But I like to keep it as one big piece anyway. Maybe just tumble it. I have a huge piece of amethyst sitting on my table or something. She's a beauty. And for the first stage, I will be using 6090 grit silicon carbide. It's very coarse stuff. I probably do about 1 tablespoon per pound of rock. I would imagine there's about 10 pounds in there. So now I add water to this, probably about 1 inch or 2 just below the level of the rocks. Then I'm going to add in the grit, put the top back on, and we will be tumbling for 1 week. See you in a week, rocks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye.
Turn this on first. Ooh, she's quiet. All right, here goes nothing. Wish me luck. Just gotta go a little bit quicker. I love the variable speed on this. You can go right up to... Look at that. Holy cow. You don't want to go in that fast though, because then the rocks won't be able to tumble. That's pretty good there. Actually, still a little bit too fast, I think. Okay, now I'll write everything down in my trusty little book. Keep track of the dates and what I'm doing. And we will see you in a week. And speaking of amazing, Penny has picked up a new hobby, which is working with glass. Like, this is crazy. She's doing such an amazing job. It's mind-blowing. And she's loving it. This is her latest one. She just finished it. Isn't it amazing? My talented girl. So cool. Okay, here we are at the end of week 1. Got a little bit of grinding from this cap here. That's about it so far.
So let's see how these rocks are doing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these in a bucket of water so nothing dries on me, and we will have a look at them. We should see a little bit of smoothness happening, taking off all the sharp edges. Seems to be working okay. We're getting there. The edges are definitely getting smoother. That's great. It's looking pretty good after 1 week. But I want to get rid of some dents and some more chips and cracks and stuff. But this is how everything looks after 1 week. So as you can see, we're down to about half a barrel now. So I'm going to have to add in some more amethyst. So that's a good tumbling tip. If you're tumbling rocks, you want to make sure you have extra rocks for tumbling, because now I have to add in more. So you can definitely see the difference between tumbling rock and rough rock. You see all the sharp edges and now we do the exact same thing. Put some water in it, about an inch or two below the level of the rocks, and put the grit in and go for another week. So after week 2 is done, I'm going to go through these a little bit more carefully and separate the ones that are ready for stage 2. Probably mostly the amethyst. There might be a couple of pieces of the jasper, but we'll have a closer look at them. You also want to make sure your edges are all clean of grit and rocks and sand and stuff, because this is where your lid sits inside here. It's kind of inset, so if there's something obstructing it, you're going to get some leaks. So it's good to clean that off. Same as your lid. You want to make sure that's all clean so everything sits in there properly, nice and tight. Dry any excess water off so you can tell if there's a leak later.
Okay, we were at the end of the second week of tumbling. Now what I have to do is go through all of these rocks and figure out which needs to go back into the tumbler. Like this one, you still see some cracks and stuff. So that needs to go back into the tumbler, so that'll go right back into the barrel. Ones like this, well, almost like this, is going to go into a separate tub of water to be saved for when all the jasper is done, and we can tumble it all together in the vibratory tumbler. So once I finish going through all these rocks, I'll show you what's ready to go and what's not ready to go. And I really want to stress that when you rinse your rocks, do not rinse the grit down your sink or any kind of household drain, because you'll plug your drain and you'll spend lots of money in plumbers. So this is why you're not supposed to pour your grit down the drain. I usually pour it out into our ditch, and then I leave it out in the sun to dry. So this is what would happen if it sat in your drain. That's just one pouring. Like, that would dry in your pipes and just build up more and more and more until it's completely plugged. So this is why you don't pour it down your drain. That's a beautiful chevron piece. Well, after going through about 3/4 of the barrel and there was nothing except a few small pieces of amethyst, I decided to just throw it all back in and we'll go for another week. So I have to do the exact same thing. Just add in some more grit, same amount, and water and more rocks. And we will see you in 1 week. Okay, so after 3 weeks, we still have some chips and cracks. This one's not too bad. So that one there's got some holes in it and stuff. Same as that one. Ooh, yikes. Ooh, that one's in bad shape. I might have to break that one and retumble it. Yikes. I'm glad they're all not like that. This one's looking pretty good. Oh, I do feel something right there. Yep. So you don't want to have these cracks and holes and stuff in a contest. Actually, you don't want to have them if you're just tumbling for yourself, because you can get grit stuck in there, and then when you go to the second stage, you're going to have this grit come out and it's not going to work on your rocks. It'd be like using sandpaper, coarse sandpaper first, and then using a couple of finer grains of sandpaper, and then going back to your coarse. It'll just scratch it up again. So we have to get rid of these cracks and holes and stuff. So the rules say that applicants are permitted to remove before or after your rough tumble, spalls, chips, cracks, and any other imperfections on the grinding wheel. After this initial cleanup, the rocks must be allowed to go through the complete and tumbling process without any further handiwork. No hand polishing or grinding is permitted after the tumbling process begins and after completion. So that means that I could bring my rocks over to my cabbing machine or flat lap and grind away some of them cracks and holes and stuff, and then put them back in the tumbler. But once they're done, stage 1, you can't touch them after that. And the furnace kicks on again. Anyway, I still have to go through all the amethyst and all the pieces just to make sure if there's any that are ready for stage 2, and I can take them out and add some rough stuff back in there. And once I'm done that, I'll show you if there's anything that's ready for stage 2. And then we will go to the cabbing machine and get rid of some of these cracks and holes and stuff. Now, if you didn't have one of those machines, the only thing you could do is just keep tumbling them until all the cracks and holes disappear. So here they are, almost dry, and you can see right along here, there's a big crack, big hole up in here, all back here is cracked, and in there. So these are going to need quite a bit of work. This one here is all cracked up in here. I mean, I could keep tumbling them. I will have to tumble them after I do this. But are those holes? Yep, these are cracks right here. These are holes. All those little guys there, that'll have to be ground out or tumbled. This one isn't too bad. I think a little spot there. Rest looks pretty good. I'll have to completely dry it though, just to make sure. That one's not too bad. This little one has some spots in here. It's hard to tell when it's wet because sometimes it hides the imperfections. This one down here. Feels like there's some ridges in there that I would have to get rid of. Yep. See that right there? Kind of a little crack. Oh, this one's pretty. Spot right there. Maybe a little bit of a hole there. So I have a lot of work to do. And the last one, there's a couple in the tumbler still that they're just tiny little blemishes that I'm going to tumble for at least another week. This one's a deep crack. This one I might have to break. Oh, look at that. Yikes. That's not good. You cannot have that. Well, I might have to break this one for sure. And if you're wondering what this stuff is over here, I have a whole boatload of projects that I'm working on. A lot of dragonflies. I brought a few of them that I made into work, and they were sold instantly. And there was a lady that came in, saw them, and ordered 2 more for herself. So they're going pretty good. These are just for cabochons out of some agate. Dragonfly wings. More cabs. Yikes! There's a couple of butterflies that I made that I'm not really happy with. So I'm going to turn them into cabochons instead. Some rhodonite cabs and earrings. All kinds of fun stuff. A staff member at work gave me this piece of glass because it has like a little rainbow effect to it. I believe that's only on the surface, but she wanted to get something made out of it. So I will make her something out of this, and it'll probably disappear, but if it doesn't, that'd be really cool. But I'm pretty sure it's only on the surface. There was some dirt along here, and I scraped the dirt off, and it's not shiny, or it doesn't have that rainbow effect where the dirt was. So yeah, I'll give it a shot anyways. So in order to break this rock, I saw another rock channel, Michigan Rocks, Rob at Michigan Rocks. Hi Rob, if you're watching. Probably one of the best rock related sites out there on YouTube. If you want to check them out, please do. Tell him I sent you. Anyway, he come up with a great idea of how to break these. You get a Tupperware container, cut a hole in the top, or the bottom, however you want to look at it, and have it on a piece of plywood. Put this over top, put a screwdriver through the hole or a chisel, and then you can break it that way. That way the rock stays contained in this little container. So thanks, Rob. That's a great idea. I'm going to try that right now. Here goes nothing. Wow. I can't believe how hard this rock is. It's as hard as a rock.
That's
Wow. I might have to break that off too. Right in there. Alright, so here they are now. There's still a big hole right there and up in here. Yeah, this is just a bad piece. Hopefully we could do something with them. I might put this on the cab machine for a little while and just smooth that out a bit. Get rid of the rough edges, and then everything gets thrown back in the tumbler. Have to grind that out a little bit. Hole back here too. It's a blurry hole. Oh, there you go. All right, over to the cabbing machine, which also has a whole bunch of my projects that I'm working on. More butterflies. These ones are going to be beautiful. Agate. A couple of guitar picks. Big piece of amethyst that chipped away. I'm going to make a cab out of it, hopefully. Another butterfly. This one's going to be a really cool kind of butterfly moth. I might cut a couple of more slabs and make a dragonfly out of it. Found some moss agate. A couple of staff people at work were asking for moss agate. And I found a couple of pieces, so I'm working on that. And another agate guitar pick. Had to grind quite a bit away, but I got rid of most of the rough spots anyways. Got a lot smaller. So now I got to do all the rest. Well, now that everything is completely dry, let's look at the ones that I've already used on the cabbing machine. This one here looks good. Looks like it's ready to go back into the tumbler for sure. I don't see any major cracks or holes or anything, so I think we're good there. This one, not so much. Has some holes there. Oh, got some hole there, there. And it's pretty small, so I don't think it's going to be a contender, but I'll throw it in with the tumble anyways, and I don't think I'll do anything more to it as far as grinding. This one here just needed some work on the bottom, so I think we're good there. And the last one, this one needs some more work. Right in here, up in here, and all around there. Like I said, sometimes when you grind these, the hole gets bigger and bigger because it might be on the inside. That's scary. Anyway, see if I can point these out a little bit better. There's a spot here because sometimes you miss them. So there's a spot there. There's all kinds of stuff in here. Right there. Out in here a little bit. So that's what we're contending with right now. Once these are done, I will show you again. And while I'm doing that, here's a screaming goat. You know what? Change of plan. I think I'm going to tumble these for a little bit longer. I mean, I have all kinds of time. I have till August, I think. And this is February. So March, April, May, June, July. Like I have like 6 months or so to tumble these. Which will give me plenty of time to just kind of grind them down naturally. And just see what happens for a while. Except for this one. This one I got to chip off that piece. Because that's going to be trouble all the way, I believe. So let me do that. And then we'll go from there. And there you have it. She's done. I actually put this in a vise this time. Give her a whack with a hammer and a screwdriver. Right in here. And she popped right off. So that will now go into the tumbler. Oh no, I'm almost out of grit. So once again, I go through all of these, see what's good. If there's any that can move on to the next stage, I will put them in a separate pail of water, and the other ones go back in the tumbler. So I'm doing a closer inspection now, and I'm using these glasses here. They have a little light on the side, on each side. And it goes from 10 to 25 power magnification. I picked these up at Princess Auto, and they work pretty well. So far, I have 2 pieces of jasper and 1 little piece of amethyst. So it's a good thing that I've gone through them again. These ones I still have to go through, but I have a pretty strong feeling that there's not going to be much going through. And I was right. This piece is ready to go. And this one, no cracks or anything. And this little tiny piece of amethyst. That's it. So these go back in the tumbler for another week. So upon closer inspection, there's only 1 rock that made it. Some of the other ones had this little tiny hole in them. So this is the only guy that's going through. And we do have some amethyst that's also ready, so that's a good thing. 1 week later, we have 1 more rock and a couple of pieces of amethyst, and that's everything that's ready to go. Here we are after week 7 of tumbling. At least I hope so. I still have to do a closer inspection for cracks and holes, but so far this looks like these might be pretty good. Well, after closer inspection, there's nothing. Okay, here we are after 7 weeks of tumbling. There's still some pretty bad spots in some of these. So I'm thinking I'm going to have to grind these down again or cut that one in half. No, I don't know if I want to do that, but I might have to. This could be ground down. That's a little thing that's going to chip away. You can see it's fractured all around the whole edge. So it's probably going to break off. Around here, this one looks not too bad. I'm going to have to give it a closer look. But that one looks like it might be ready for stage 2. That would be cool. Oh, hang on. Nope. Oof. I'll look at that one later. Okay. Here's another one that's, you can see it's fractured right around here. And that might just chip right off. So I might have to help it a bit. And then give it a little bit of a gentle grind. And then continue on. There's some spots up here too. Right up there. So all these have these tiny holes and stuff in them, the cracks. I'm going to try to get rid of them with a cabbing machine. This is still in the first stage. 60-90 grit. And I'm hoping this will be the last time I have to grind them. And then they'll stay in the tumbler for a little bit. And then ready for stage 2. This one's looking good too. Well, here we are, week 12, and this happened. I've got a hole in my lid. Not a happy camper. I've only used this for 12 weeks. So I'm going to have to order me another one really quick. Hopefully it gets here in time. Ugh. We contacted Highland Park. They said they will get back to us as soon as they can. They have stuff on order. As soon as it comes in, they will let us know. But they also sent an email on how to fix this, which is totally wrong. They wanted me to glue that to this lid. They wanted to use something about using adhesive tape, and then another one was contact cement or something like that, and it just doesn't make any sense. So I don't know if they know what they're talking about, but I'm not gluing nothing. I'm going to try to patch this hole eventually, not right now. Right now I have a 4-pound tumbler that I'm going to transfer everything into, and then I'll work on that lid, but I want to keep these rocks going. So I'll use the old trusty Lortone 4-pound tumbler. Well, after 15 weeks of tumbling these rocks, this is what's left to tumble still, but it's going to take forever. And the more I tumble them, the worse they get. So I think I'm just going to leave them and continue on with the vibratory tumbler with the other ones. This one isn't too bad. I think there was a hole here and there. So I'm only supposed to send in 5 pieces anyways, so I should be okay.